some crime. Now, when you're talking about poor people who have like very few choices in their lives, and then when robberies are committed and things along those lines, it doesn't act as a deterrent, because the fundamental circumstances of your life and your poverty and your desperation are essentially going to remain the same. And some distant thing saying that you might receive the death penalty ultimately is abstract, and it doesn't matter to you. Now, like for a wealthy person, a very wealthy person who's committing corporate malfeasance, the idea, if it were realistic, that they might have all that ill-gotten gain taken away from them, and they might have the freedom taken away from them, that would be a very real threat, because it impinges and possibly significantly changes the material circumstances of their lives. And so we have to start doing this. If we don't, we will keep getting the same thing, and we will have the same people in the corporate world, and by continuance, because essentially at this point the corporate world controls the political world. We'll get the same kind of corruption in the corporate and political worlds if we don't start holding people to account. And that's more than just at the ballot box. It's at by court order, by throwing these people in prison, and we need to do it. And the people who are saying we shouldn't, I think, just have, to put it generously, have a little bit too much invested in a system that is by definition corrupt.
Absolutely. I'll take it a step farther. And so we have right now, the House has just censured Rashida Tlaib for what she said and asking for a ceasefire. She's the only Palestinian American in our Congress.
By the way, just to pause, the idea that Rashida Tlaib should be censored and George Santos shouldn't be censored is just completely fucking blows my mind.
What blows my mind is one of the people who brought the censure was Jewish space lasers, three-toed Taylor Green.
Right.
Give me a break.
Right. The most anti-Semitic, member of our Congress on the face of it.
Exactly. And all Rashida is talking about are her people, her family.
Yeah.
The people that know her family, the place where she has roots, and she's asking for a ceasefire, which is apparently radical in this day and age. Yeah. But the 22 Democrats who side with Republicans,
it's disgusting.
If you look at AIPAC, which is the Jewish lobby in Washington, D.C., how much money that they've received.
Yeah.
They've received significant amounts of money, 6 digits.
Yeah.
To 9 digits. I'm talking about people who have been in Congress for a long time and who have received lots of money. And we're not talking about anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, nothing about that. We're talking about now 11,000 people dead.
Yeah.
Over 4,000 of them children.
Yeah.
If a child in pain,
and yet you can lose your morality around that. You can actually be the one who is blaming the relative of the people who are getting bombed, of whom thousands are being killed. You can blame that person if you get enough money. It's disgusting, and it's like systematized bribery, and it's immoral, and it's inhuman.
Because they don't care, really. Those are the same people who don't want social programs that we've had in place, some of them since FDR funded. Programs that their own, mythological herald Reagan implemented. They want those defunded so they can give money to the billionaires. They want a package to Israel doctored with a reduction on our IRS agents, so their friends who donate to them don't have to worry about taxes in 2024.
Yeah.
That is really what they are talking about. They don't care even about the Israelis who died. They don't care. What they care about is the money. So the money in politics with the lobby and the special interest groups and Citizens United and all the other ways, like Mike Johnson, he's got no money over $1,000 in any account in his or his wife's name. Where's all his money? In Jamaica? Where's his
Probably.
money?
Yeah, maybe that's probably where it is. I mean, there's so many different places to hide it. So, I mean, whether you talk about U.S. states, whether you talk about overseas accounts, there are all sorts of places to hide it. I mean, you don't have to have it on the accounts. In a way, having open wealth is kind of a thing of the past. I mean, we know that powerful people hide their money in a lot of different places, and just because you're a theocrat doesn't mean that you're any different on that score.
So Democrats, voters in general, happen to be Democrats, stood out this week and told everybody, you know what? Thank you for making it a states' rights issue, because guess what? Women should be allowed to do what they want with their bodies.
Yeah. Yay, Ohio.
In red states.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank goodness for that. And we have a Democratic governor reelected in the deep red state of Kentucky, which is excellent news. I was a little bit disappointed that Elvis Presley's cousin wasn't elected as governor in the state of Mississippi, but we can't have everything. That would have been awesome, though. I would have loved to have seen that, but that's okay. Ohio, as long as we can continue, that should be just run like again and again. Like Biden. I don't think he's going to do it, but he should be running on that every single day. If it wins in Kansas, if it wins in Ohio, if he made that his issue and he actually meant it, and he was actually going to do something about changing the structure of the court or pushing
or
to
codifying. They have had
this as
50
a right.
years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My mother could not get an abortion when she was a young woman.
Yeah.
I lost my right, and my children and my daughters don't have that right in my lifetime. Yeah. And I like Nancy Pelosi, and don't get me wrong, but she has even been in control. So we have already made it clear that women should have the right to say what happens to their bodies. So Democrats, I know that they're planning on running with this in their ad campaigns because they saw what happened this week with the voting. So don't use it as a campaign. Use it as a way to codify. We elect you back into office. We give you the seats from the Republicans. We give you the swing states. You now codify Roe v. Wade. Do it. Because otherwise, the participation goes both ways. In the beginning, when Trump got elected, we were Democrats were very out there protesting, showing up at their elected officials, making offices, making sure that they were doing the right thing, even showing up in the news, doing little stunts, sending them funny gifts, and reminding them that we're watching you. We got our eye on you. We need to do that again, because at this point, Republicans, that is a recipe in white nationalist Christian disaster, and nobody wants that. So Democrats, if you guys are going to be our only hope, then you have to actually do something. You have to get a spine.
Yeah.
You have to stand up for what you believe in, and you have to make it law, period.
Yeah. And I think we should be the Republicans have done this to and they've been able to get power out of it. We should be primarying people who are not Democrats who are not in full support of this, or are wavering on it, or won't commit to doing it. We need representatives in office and Democrats in office who are actually willing to do this, and not just pay lip service to the idea that it's a good thing, but I'm not actually going to vote because I'm afraid that blah 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 blah. You will get more power out of offending those few anti-choice nut jobs, and gaining the support of people who have lost faith in you because they've seen reproductive rights eroded over the course of the decades, and now, like in many states, completely taken away. you will regain that. There is more to gain than there is to lose. So take a chance, take a risk. Otherwise, we will make sure that you are not the candidate who is running come election day.
Yeah, because I know my eldest is Gen Z, and
Yeah.
my youngest is Gen Alpha,
Mhm.
and they are not interested in they what they are interested in is equality, inclusivity, and representation
Yeah.
in all aspects of their life. They want to put quality of life over earning a living,
Yeah.
and they want to be able to work at something that they enjoy and not be forced into an economic stance because their boss won't pay them a living wage. They're willing to not enter the workforce in a traditional sense to avoid that.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
just like what we saw with the writers and with the actors now, things are
yeah.
changing. And the way in which we have revenue streams now has to compensate for the people who are creating the content that are giving you those subscriptions and the box office cash.
Yeah.
So when it comes to voting, we need younger people. We need people who are my age or younger, 35 to 45, who are living it, understand it, and see that working with it is a way forward instead of going back to the 18th century like Mike Johnson wants to do.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to Technology is here to stay. We drive cars because we don't want horse shit in the roads anymore. We don't like the smell. So we need to work with technology and make it work for us and better. And we need people who are young enough to see the potential.
Yeah. It's okay because Mike Johnson will provide all the horse shit we could ever want. So we really don't have to miss out on that. But it's a good thing that you brought up the SAG after strike, which looks like it has been wrapped up. They still have to vote on it, but they have come to a tentative agreement, and I am pleased to see that they have reached an agreement on getting money from streaming. I wish they would have gone further, and I wish they would have been able to get a percentage as opposed to a per member fee. And maybe this is getting a little bit into the weeds, but they fought for a long time, and they got certainly a lot more than the producers ever wanted to give. I mean, the producers just wanted to completely ignore them,
Yeah.
and they fought and they won. I wish it had been even more, but I'm very proud of Fran Drescher and everyone who participated in that strike for making the fight that they did and fighting for as long as they did, because that was not easy for the vast majority of working actors in Hollywood and elsewhere. That it's not an easy thing to not be able to work for that long.
Yeah, 76% of SAG AFTRA members make under 26,000 a year.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Dean and Sam on Supernatural. We're talking about all the background people. And with AI, one of the things that they all the details are being held. We'll probably hear about it Monday or Tuesday. But one of the details that Fran Drescher shared on ET was that with AI, they now have to contact the family if you're deceased, which, among all the
Oh,
things that the
that's
Flash
cool.
did,
They can't
that
just automatically use dead people for
exactly.
AI.
So seeing, Christopher Reeve again, as Superman was dear to my heart because he will always be my Superman. I was a little girl, but the family wasn't asked and they weren't compensated, and that's disgusting.
It's awful. Yeah, that's absolutely horrific. And they wanted to basically do that same thing with every actor, every extra, and be able to do that in perpetuity. And
Yes.
amazingly, in that act, they have come up with something fundamentally more offensive than just the basic plot of The Flash itself, because that was a
It
horrible,
was
horrible
horrible.
movie.
It was so bad.
It was
It
just,
was, you
yeah.
know what? It was bad, but I think Five Nights at Freddy's was worse.
I
Although
haven't
I
seen
do
that
give it
yet.
to them, they didn't use any CGI. It was all Jim Henson Creature Shop, so I'll give it to that. But
Mhm.
man, was that really? Oh, it was bad.
I haven't seen it yet. I will tell my eldest, who is a fan of Josh Hutcherson from the Hunger
Hunger
Games
Games, yeah.
fame, to stay away